less and less and less like massage. And my own industry was like, wait, this isn't massage. And I'm like, good, if it's not massage, I don't need a massage license. I don't need a massage establishment license, and I can hire anybody and I can train them online worldwide for $7 a month. And they go, oh, okay, it's massage. How we doing? Did we do a little bit of both sides?
Yeah.
Are we getting close to wanting to move on to the next piece?
Oh, we definitely can. This guy here just greedy.
Well, essentially Thai massage for the table.
I'm trying to get comfortable even with the sharper arm.
Okay, so I'm definitely going to
Switching a new set of fiber.
Oh. So just
Where's the line
When I was working at Southwest in the 90s in San Antonio, I had this Indian client who he was laying on his back, and I said, take a slow, deep breath. Right? His chest just kept rising and rising and rising. And finally, I said, okay. And I asked him, how did you do that? I mean, his chest cage was square.
Yeah.
And he says 20 years of yoga.
Yeah.
He said some of the swamis in India, he said, can take in 3 to 4 times the air of an average person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing.
It's playing with physical edges. And there was a lot of my knowledge of like joint mobilization, particularly that came from my own yoga practice. How far could you push a joint?
Right.
And you go, oh wow, there's actually more range there than we think. That's not just a bony restriction. There's actually tissue that's just it's only used to being here. And when you start to open it up the opposite direction, it felt like you created more freedom of movement in the body itself.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, who would know? Who would know that the rib cage could expand like that, and that they have joints that can.
So
much?
I would do breathing exercises like all the time.
Yeah.
This has been many years ago. But I've done it often enough and with enough focus that I know I can lower my own heart rate and lower my blood pressure. And I would do a series of Instagram stories where I would go to Walmart, sit and wait for like a prescription, and do breathing exercises and document the process of taking my blood pressure on the machine, doing the exercises and breathing for 20 minutes and doing it again and showing the difference in the systole, diastole, and like my beats per minute.
You're like that guy who swam under the ice.
Wim Hof.
Yeah. Did we already talk about that guy?
Yeah.
You were just talking about telling me about
I
him.
missed it.
He said that.
We don't add ice baths just yet, but we'll get there. Because I don't like cold. Ooh, Wim, that's mean. Cold. Ooh. Yeah. But what it does is it's almost like the opposite of Bikram yoga. Instead of putting you in a heated room, they put you in ice. Your body has a temporary response of alarm, and then he's like, breathe. Because you're putting yourself in controlled strain and stress to be able to learn how to control your stress response.
Right.
Yeah.
No, we're good. I think this is about to move on to the next thing. I was just going to
She would.
So upper back and neck, right?
Yeah.
I want to give you another piece just to add to that real quick. It's not going to work for all clients. Can I demonstrate this on you specifically? Cool. Okay. Just stay where you are right there. So lay a little bit more on your side, like facing that direction. There you go. So when I'm working on people, we kind of built up to this because we had opened up the chest. We worked around the shoulder blade, right? What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to back off. I'm going to slide off my right shoe so I can prop him here. Let me see your arm. There we go.
I know this.
How's this?
It's already open.
Okay. And from here, I'm just essentially right at his sacrum so that I can pull him open. I've got this range of motion through the shoulder. I'm not trying to jam his shoulder joint. I'm just using this to open the chest. Now, my foot is usually big enough that I can press into his paraspinals on the top side, which in this case means the right, and jostle him. How's that?
Oh, it's lovely.
Cool. How's that right there?
Oh, it's even better.
There we go. And I'm asking him for feedback because some people will feel different stuff. He feels fairly open right here. And then if I give you some pressure, how's that?
Oh, man, it's activating. It feels great.
There you go. I'm gonna turn. I'm gonna get my toes right under his shoulder blade, and I'm gonna change this for a second so you can see this. I'm gonna hook his shoulder blade right over my toes,
Oh, it's great.
and I'm gonna
guys.
pull him open right here. And then when I add this in, how's that?
Oh, it's spectacular.
And I can work on his forearm flexors and actually slide across the little skin right there. How's that? Now, does this look like massage?
Yes.
Yes.
Doesn't look like grappling.
Looks like
No.
tissue manipulation.
Now, if I want to go a little bit higher, right there. How's that?
And none of that torque
Oh.
your toes backwards too much?
No. So here's the thing. You can't see it. I'm actually using some muscle to curl my toes in to protect from like bending them backwards. I don't want you to hurt your feet doing this. What if you work on someone and their shoulder blade just doesn't come off of their...
You can't hurt your toes.
You just press into the rhomboids or you press into the thoracic paraspinals. It's totally fine. Does it make sense? But this is a really good option for some people. And if I grab you right there,
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
So again, you're basically doing a little cross-fiber friction then with your toes then, right?
yes.
Yeah.
And then I go, oh wow, why not an arm bar? Here we go. Now, you like up
Oh, that's.
or down?
I prefer up
Right
now.
there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. Yes, Jesus. Put the stamp on
The
it.
stamp.
I want you guys to try just that one. And that's why I wear the shoes I can slide off.
Turns out, I just did.
Turns up.
Some of it was mobilization of the spine. Other part was pulling the paraspinals into our ball pad of the foot. And then at the end, it's essentially scapular retraction over our toes.
Hey.
Also, my toes are really flexible because I've done this stuff on a mat for years and years and years and years. So my ankle and like hip mobility is kind of off the charts.
Yeah, mine not so much.
Yeah, it will.
Are we unplugged?
How's that?
This is supposed to be about the right stretch.
It does stretch the
Right there.
So you do opposite to. Check. And rhomboid. Oh, I bet you feel it under also. The rib cage, huh?
Say that. Yeah.
You got it.
So that's like rhomboid, serratus. And you're getting it all.
Now, down or up?
Both? Down feels better.
What you got? Sorry about that.
Oh, hi. Hi. Oh.
Yeah, just make sure it's comfortable on your toes.
Yeah, I got my toes.
Oh, girl.
Yes.
How was your position here with the arm like that? You were like,
Arm bar. So let's do the first part and then we'll add that in.
Oh, it's good.
Because that's like primary, secondary, like remember I said that? You add in all these additional pieces. And I like her here.
and you do a straight leg.
Yep. And essentially her shoulder
You
blade
grab the arm first.
is going to roll over your toes.
Okay.
And then I can grab here and start to roll her back.
Oh, that's a good stretch for me
Yeah.
too.
And you
I
can
like
bend your
this.
knee too. It just depends on your mobility and what's going on. There you go.
You bring it all the way.
So try her from
So
here
really-
first and just
Okay.
roll her over your foot.
Ah, that'd be a
And I just want to
primary, huh?
test your toes first just to see how your body responds to it before we go into a deeper form and pull some weight onto you.
Yeah, my hamstrings are like, hey, they're shut down actually. That's what Dr. Schul said. All right.
And then you
So
can
can I
add
do more pressure then?
the shoulder in, so you can grab here or there or both.
Because of how I'm being, or not being able to get in there.
Am I rolling?
Yep. And the way I do the arm bar, you can do it from either side, is I would do like this.
And are you at more of an angle?
Weaseled in there now.
You can change it.
On my spine.
You can change it. Also, the size of my body depends on how it fits with their body. Yeah.
Show me what you were doing.
I'm going to block at the sacrum and gently roll her open. And I know she's going to be more open here. Open, 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 open. Oh, oh, edge of the shoulder blade. Right there. And I go shoulder blade. Oh, yeah. Right there.
Come on, Beth. Come with Oh, yeah.
Okay, that was the problem.
It's worse.
Having my arm like that was the problem. Okay.
And in her case, I can almost use the ball pad of my foot to press on the spine itself, which isn't my focus. How's that right there?
This I can just let you do.
More down or more up?
How's it feel for you?
Much better, actually. I was using the wrong line.
Okay.
More up or more down?
Oh, yeah. Just everything from the spine.
How was that?
Yeah. And it feels more secure. The other one.
And you play with it. Her body size, like the ball pad of my foot was almost hitting her spine. So it was like I was digging into the shoulder blade more with the toes to try to prevent it. How we doing?
Yeah.
So why don't we do myofascial release with our feet?
I do, because people think it's edgy.
Ah. Why don't we do full contact mat-based myofascial release?
Because people are like, wow, does that mean that you have to walk on me?
Why don't we do Brazilian fascia jitsu?
Brazilian fascia I mean, I know
So-
I'm a black belt in Brazilian
And this is what we're
fascia
working
jitsu.
towards, Phil, is when we set up the time and size jam, and we're still trying to find our audience. The CrossFitters are picking up what we're doing faster than everybody else. And what I'm wondering is I think that the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu community might be the ones that crack it. The combination of the CrossFit gyms with the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu community, if we go in and teach Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioners how to work on each other. Aha! Because Lord knows they got injuries. They're pushing their bodies to their physical edges. It certainly involves joint mobilization, so they understand that. They understand the therapeutic application. They're all wearing clothes and working on a mat. Aha.
Isn't this where we worked the other day?
How we doing? Thank you for giving her feedback.
Oh, yeah.
How we doing?
Doing great.
Is this comfortable?
Yep. Surprisingly.
I feel like if you were to get a hold of a person that hasn't really been out on the
You do it with your right foot. I'm having problems with my left
You can
side
do it
like
either.
doing it. So
Are you right-handed?
I am.
You're probably right-legged.
Yeah.
Are you more comfortable using your right leg?
Yeah, I was getting. Well, I'm right bunion. Let's see if this one works.
You can work from either side.
Let's see. Okay.
I try to develop some semblance of balance from side to side as much as possible.
I'm just off.
Bilateral symmetry. Being ambidextrous. Now, if consumers see this, does this look like massage? Will consumers pay more for this? That answer is yes, I've tested it. Especially if you market and package it well.
They're going to pay you before you release their arm.
Will you tip me? No?
Stay on this side.
Does that feel good on your spine? My foot's really bad.
You've also noticed, and I can tell when I look around the room, tons of variance when it comes to the shoulder joint, the elbow, and the arm. You can turn the arm in various positions. You just want that to be comfortable. We're still primarily working on opening the chest and then helping the shoulder blade kind of release from around the rib cage. Get the shoulder blades to float.
Well, I'm on her spine a lot.
Okay, so here's the deal. If you're working on her and you feel like when she's like this and you're hitting her spine, what I'm going to do is I'm going to back off and I'm going to rotate her so that the ball pad of my foot is hitting it here, and I'm trying not to press on the spine itself.
So this is my good foot, I suppose,
Okay.
but it doesn't. I can't do it with that one because my bunion, maybe, like my toes curl. So
Mobility.
Look.
Everybody's body totally different.
But
So use
I
this
guess,
leg.
Okay, so I'm on rhomboid here. We're trying to get just under the scapula, huh?
Yep. And here's the thing: if you start to
what do you think
roll
about
her
that
shoulder blade
position of
back,
her toe,
can you get your foot deeper in there?
Yeah,
So
I
that
can
the
lock
ball
my
pad of the foot is still on this left side of the
it's
spine.
not.
Okay. Then we just
Yeah.
work around it as best we can.
Yeah, because look, I mean, my balls past her spine,
But
right?
feet, size of feet,
Matters.
range of motion with the client will change it drastically.
Yeah.
We also did this after the other versions. We did this after opening the shoulder blade, pressing up here, opening the chest. We did this as like a build-up as part of a progression.
He was doing that, remember the foot in the... That's right, this needs to be really higher. That's right.
How many times in class did I talk about Thai massage?
Not as often.
How many times did I talk about sun lines in theory?
Zero times.
Right now.
I teach a very basic, biomechanically sound way of you delivering soft tissue, prolonged skin stretch or compression, mobilization, getting you to use your body in new ways. More of this? How you doing?
Good. That's why
Just checking in on you over here.
It's like I got my foot up there and I'm like, oh my god, I can't spread my legs this far. Yeah. You know what? Actually, move forward a tiny bit. Let me see that. Right there.
We're gonna be at the Thinkery later tonight, and Tim McCoy is the one who set this up. It's like I don't even know exactly what's going on. We might be just teaching a little bit, sharing stuff with people. I think it's 7 p.m. Yeah, and Tim worked at Massage Harmony. He was our education coordinator. He started working with me and really loved what I was doing, incorporated some mat stuff, was like kind of transitioning clients back and forth from table to mat. And he talked to me at one point when he was working in Harmony, and he got annoyed because once he gave the clients a mat session, they didn't want to go back to the table. And he's like, man, I really like working on the table. They don't want to go back to the table. And I'm like, why don't we let the consumer decide? But the consumer's not had a large enough sampling size to know what the potential is, which is why I teach to get more therapists to do this stuff, to expand it, make people more aware of it so it grows.
That felt like an open thing, something.
I think if you use the one, like if you use the one down by the butt when you're down there, and then as you get farther up, switch sides, because that's what I was doing with my foot, because it was easier for me. Because I couldn't use the side foot.
And we also picked the one that's easier for you to do.
With the foot? That's the
There's
easiest
20 different
one.
ways to do stuff.
To
And that's what I'm
customize.
saying, like I'll show them one way and I try not to
Yeah.
vary too far because we're kind of staying on the same page.
I'm really new at
Yeah.
this. I mean, I do get on the table though, so it's
Yeah.
like this would be really good for me to learn.
Yeah.
Because I mean, honestly, I give more than I receive. But, I do get on the table.
Sometimes I have to create something new because your body needs something
Yeah.
And I go, well, okay, how do we do, okay. And I'm like, try this.
And I just really have to be mindful of like how to put it together. I suppose, yeah.
The number one rule is you want it to be extremely effective for the client and then very easy on your body. When those 2 points cross, that's the gold. If you do that consistently, that's longevity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
6 months or so.
Yeah, it's very cartilage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can grab your leg.
You could. I could grab a few other things.
That's the end of our session.
Yeah. That's why I pointed that out to you though, because it was like, oh, I can really grab some action right now. I don't want to grab.
It feels great in my back.
I don't think she'd be
Not
happy.
in your chest. You're not feeling anything in your chest.
No.
Oh.
See, I didn't understand. Were we trying to open the chest, or we're working on those rhomboids?
Primary, and then after we open the chest, you're pressing into the rhomboids and potentially the paraspinal muscles, and then you're mobilizing the shoulder joint because of the pressure through the arm. Sometimes you're doing multiple things, and it's like you kind of toggle between those points of contact depending on what the person needs.
See, that's stretching more in the shoulder and chest.
That's what I was telling you about the arm going up instead of down.
Yeah.
Remember?
So real quick, let me
Yes,
show you.
yes,
Hold it.
yes.
No, just stay where you are. Now, I want you to Now, do this. I think that's correct. How's it feel?
Yeah.
An arm bar.
Probably a little too much pressure into my back right now.
Oh, sorry.
And you don't have to use that, but for some people it'd be advantageous depending on limb length. A public service announcement? Like, the more you know.
Basically tell everybody what's going on again.
Yeah. Is this Instagram Live?
Both.
Both. Hey, listen, guys. We're on Instagram Live here. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're doing a Thai massage for the table here at Oak Haven in Austin, but we're technically just about Cedar Park area. We're just working on some techniques to be able to open up the chest and lift the shoulder blade off the rib cage. A lot of people think that the shoulder blade is like bony connected on the spine, but essentially the only connection is at the clavicle. The shoulder blades just float on the chest, and we're showing them something to open the chest to get the shoulder blade to kind of open, pec and pec minor, so that the shoulder blades feel like they just float on the rib cage. It helps people with upper back and neck pain. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Massage Envy just fired you.
I don't know.
He's like, been there.
This is why Steven doesn't come in tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, no. Gotta work on them toes.
You're trying to hold it. But the
Much more.
How's the pressure?
I like it.
Okay, it's not too much on your toes or anything? Okay. Because usually I'll just kind of hook my toes just a little bit, just to pull the shoulder blade
I think
over.
you should put your big toe down more. So scoot over maybe an inch.
pushing more than you're.
Is that a bad out?
Down or up?
Now,
It's a therapeutic act.
yeah, on this side I would like to, because you can feel how it's like that lat. We just immediately rotate a little bit, or laterally rotated. It was just like, oh, lat.
Yeah. And that's where movement-wise, depending on where you mobilize them, you can focus on different things. It's kind of like, again, like I show you a primary position and then add secondary and tertiary options. Even I have to go back to this chart and go, oh, no, they're getting more latissimus dorsi and like the insertion up at the shoulder, and then they're getting down their back because of the length, you know. Then with the rotation, it's like, is it tricep, bicep, coracobrachialis, like just on and on and on, and like little pieces that you can add.
To be honest,
Yeah.
I can even tell.
Alright.
My butt feels really sometimes.
No, I don't.
It's wag your toes. I've been marked by the
Get
beast.
footprints.
I don't.
Keep going. Yeah, I like this.
You got it. It's just the way, I mean, I saw Victoria's foot in there. I'm like,
How was that?
Here, I can do
Yeah.
that.
Here too.
I just want to see something.
Robert, is this more of like a jostle happening with the foot, and then, is this is kind of like the support role, right?
So, and this is where there's complexity. You can do that, and it's almost like the foot is pressing into the paraspinals and you're jostling the vertebra. You can change the focus to be like, no, I want to open up anterior deltoid, bicep length. You could like bend at the elbow and like change, you know what I mean? It's like, and here's the thing, if once it gets good, it's almost like you're doing 2 or 3 things at once and you're juggling and changing the focus. Where it's like, oh, I'm going to go here for a second. No, I'm going to go back over here.
Depending on what the body's asking.
And the thing is, the jostle is lighter than like reinforcing and then pulling her onto your foot. And it's like I'll tend to jostle between those because I'm losing movement to try to find a restriction. Eventually, it gets to a point where, how much do you think when you work?
Not much. It's
Yeah,
non-linear.
you feel.
Right. It's all what you feel.
And that was why I said I couldn't teach online. Can you teach feeling online? Ah. And I'm like, dude, you don't teach Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu online. But you can teach a very large portion of it to get people started so that they have a basic idea and maybe some basic parameters for safety to be able to start the process that feeds in. It's always going to be a physical art. I don't know how to dance. I don't know tango. Could I learn tango online?
Feel it better. The other one not so much.
Not completely.
But I can get started, and here's what happens. Good tango dancers, do they think about tango? What do they do?
No, they feel it.
And that's when the body work is good. The body work is good when you take the information, because when you're in processing mode, it's different. It's different when you're learning it. When you feel it and give it and receive it and give it and receive it for years, it builds up in your muscle memory and you don't have to think about it anymore. You just start moving organically. And here's the thing. Look at what's going on in the room right now. Did I tell them to do this? And I'll never stop you because this is where it gets juicy. This is where it gets good, is when you start using your own physical body and the parameters that you're working with to be able to mobilize and work with the client to connect with them. Yeah.
And your shoulder still feels okay.
Yeah.
And then you get tandem tie, and then you get a second practitioner, and they come over, and then you start, you know.
Usually everything gets worked out bilaterally, and I just never like stood up and thought, oh wow, no, that's like still.
That's Thai massage jam, except it's on a mat.
You need to make it out one of these days, guys.
Yeah.
Go?
Yes, I do.
All right, next Thursday. We'll see you guys next Thursday. Okay, we'll see you guys on Thursday after
It's
that.
so cool on your toes there?
Oh yeah.
Okay, just make sure.
The knee works better.
For her, the knee is.
And that was the version I was going to show you, but I didn't want to go completely off-road and show it to everybody.
It feels so much better for her struggling.
Usually, to me, much larger clients, when I can't get their shoulder blade to release, this is what I use. Big guys, 300 pounds, and it's like it doesn't release. I'm like, come here. And I'm like just pulling them into my knee.
What about like moving my
Wrote a song, and they're doing her song.
Mat work. Mat work.
It's doing good.
It's like their school showcase.
This would also classify as mat work. What has she done? She's trying to make a much bigger mat so she can sit down and do it. That's what it is, right? But see, that's what always happens. They start off in the table class and they're like, oh man, I should have took the mat class. But they work in facilities that don't allow mat work. It's not as bad as it used to be. There used to be students, they were completely blown away by what I was teaching, and when they left class, there was nowhere in Austin they could get a job doing what I was teaching.
I think there's like one place that my friend told me about that.
Zenwell.
And yep, that's it.
And it's primarily like that, and then like a little chair massage and some other foot stuff, yeah.
That's literally the one.
Yeah.
Where was it?
South Austin. Zenwell, South Austin. So we're closing or moving towards. We got another like 30 minutes. Don't feel like you gotta rush out or anything. I'm not trying to rush you at all. What else do you guys want to go over? Plantar fasciitis doesn't exist. What else? Okay, so plantar fasciitis. Why do people have plantar fascia issues?
The ends of a fascia being the ends in the feet, and we have to do everything with the body. It doesn't have as much to do with it.
And they drive too much.
Plantar fasciitis. I'm gonna list some conditions, okay? And you have to be careful about your verbiage here. Remember earlier we talked about a spontaneous cavitation?
Yes.
I learned to change my language and verbiage because I don't want to get in trouble. Can massage therapists diagnose or treat any condition?
No.
And I have tons of videos for like self-care and carpal tunnel this and hand pain and wrist pain and carpal tunnel and carpal tunnel and carpal tunnel. I don't tell people I can diagnose or treat carpal tunnel syndrome. You know what I do? I say, what if your symptoms go away?
Thank you, Victoria.
I can say that legally. People would come into that chiropractor's office and tell me they had carpal tunnel syndrome, and I would almost laugh. Because I've seen it so many times, and who here, I'm raising my hand, thought they had developed carpal tunnel syndrome many times from doing massage work on a table where they would not allow me to put a mat in.
Yeah.
Now, do I have carpal tunnel syndrome?
No.
Do I have problems with my hands?
Yes.
No,
No.
I don't.
Okay.
But I did at one point, but I don't now. People come in all the time and they tell us they have sciatica. What is sciatica clinically?
Irritation of the sciatica.
I tell people I'm like, you have degeneration of the sciatic nerve, and they're like, no, I have a pain going down the back of my leg. I'm like, did a doctor? And they're like, no, a doctor didn't diagnose me. I just have a pain going down my leg. And I tell them, I'm sorry, sir, you have a case of American average. You're a tight ass.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I'm going to go in and work on his glutes, and miraculously, they're like, they cured my... And I'm like, hold on, whoa. You had a tight muscle, it was pressing on a nerve. That's all it was, right? Those sorts of things I've seen repeatedly in my clinical practice. The problem is when somebody comes in with something that has similar symptoms, but it's not soft tissue. A guy came in, and I see a lot of these because of the way my sessions are put together. I get a lot of people at the end of their rope. They're this far away from surgery, and they're hoping some crazy guy in his garage can help them with whatever they're dealing with. Guy had pain down the back of his leg. I did my standard work, worked on his hip, worked on his glutes. Do you feel any better? The next day, he went to the doctor. The reason he went to the doctor is because the pain did not significantly change from before and after the session. That tells me it's not soft tissue. I know, 3 hours, I know that was the case. He had a bone spur in his lumbar spine that was pressing on the trunk that went down, see? But it was further up the chain, makes sense? I can't do anything about a bone spur. That's out of my scope, that he needs to see a surgeon to be able to deal with that and shave that off, right? If it's soft tissue, that's where we excel. I see people sometimes who've had carpal tunnel syndrome. They go in and get surgery, and I always ask them, is it better now? And they're like, because here's what I think the surgeons didn't address. They didn't address the soft tissue component. All they did was shave the space between the radius and ulna to create more space for that nerve to go through, but they didn't deal with the soft tissue and the referred pain that comes from forearm extensors and flexors, which is, who does that? Do PTs do that?
Not effective.
Really good ones do, or they should be. Are those PTs getting on Instagram Live and educating us about how to do that?
Actually, yes. Some of them are.
Hopefully,
Some
you
of
need to
them
point
are.
out who they are so I can chat with them.
I will.
That's where I make my bread and butter, is helping people, okay? Plantar fasciitis, 9 times out of 10, I always think it's a soleus.
Yes, so that was what I meant is the symptoms of it, because I kind
That's
of
fine.
agree.
No. But I use it as an example. No. So I understand how the language is used by the common person, and I'm not in any way denigrating our profession or the public or their knowledge base. I'm extremely limited. That's why I need PTs and doctors to educate me more about how to deal with these things, because I'm trying to deal with, there's an opiate epidemic in the United States. Like, they're prescribing Oxycontin like it's candy. Like, it's a real problem. Pain management, right? What do we deal with?
Pain management.
Yeah. You think junkies have problems with connection?
Just a little.
How do most junkies feel about their mom and dad? They feel connected to their families and loved ones, and see, because it's like, it's not just mental. Like, there's a whole lot of pieces of stuff going on there. When people are having problems with their calves, which like we had problems with their hand and wrist. Where did we go?
Forearms.
What's the hand and wrist of the lower extremity? Your foot.
So do you do the same thing? Like, do you do a knee? Okay.
Well, you'll start to look at it anatomically, and if you take an upright person and put them where they're supposed to be evolutionarily on all fours, the upper and lower extremities, we've changed because we took a kind of a different evolutionary path. I've got to deal with the calves, and I've got to deal with, the back of the leg. It's not just the superficial gastrocs, it's deeper. Tibialis posterior and soleus. I see this all the time. Now, it doesn't mean that the person, in fact, didn't have plantar fasciitis. But the thing is, it feels like in many cases, there's a soft tissue component that's adding to the problem. That's where we come in. When I work on some people, I had a chef, he had carpal tunnel syndrome. He had retired because he did this. He's like, I couldn't hold my chef's knife. And you could see it in his face, like he loved being a cook. I worked on him in 30 minutes and he literally broke out in tears and was like, I don't understand. My arms feel like noodles. Because he doesn't have the language to try to convey to me how some weird hippie guy can like do soft tissue work on him and it's gone like that. And he retired. Like he chose another career because he could not keep doing what he was doing. How do runners feel when they develop plantar fasciitis?
Oh, horrible.
Well, because the thing that they love, and here's the thing, if we catch it while it's early, it may not get bad enough where there's a major issue. It's just annoying. Their calves get tight. But what runners' calves wouldn't get tight eventually if they're using that all the time. So who wants calf work? I saw you first. Go ahead and lay on your back.
I hate calf work, but I will.
Lay on your back for me.
This way?
Yeah, that's fine. Head down here. So I did this recently in a YouTube video that posted. I get a lot of hate mail from my YouTube videos because they've never seen anybody work like I'm working, and the therapists are trying to wrap their brain around it. They didn't to this for some reason, and I'm always interested in how they respond. So I have to work on the calves. Why did I get to lay on her back? What the hell, Robert? How are you going to work? Do you see how it's backwards? Do you see how it's backwards? So I'm going to start with a larger, broader tool, and I'm going to save my hands in the process. Do you have more problems with this side or the other?
The right side.
The right side? Okay, I'm going to do it from here so you guys can see that.
Yes.
How's this? Now, what I do is I trick her into working on my quads and rolling out my quads. How's that? Is it too much? Okay. So just tell me it's too much. Is that better? There we go. And is it more pressure just straight down?
Yes.
Okay. So if I hook into your tib anterior right there, how's that? Okay. What if I give you some little pin and stretch? Now, what am I doing? Am I working on the gastrocs? Am I working on soleus?
Yes.
Am I working on tib anterior?
Yes.
Am I engaging a pin and stretch of those?
Are you hurting your body?
This is horribly strained. Yeah. Guys, whatever you do, don't do this. Please don't. This is horribly dangerous. I know that authorities and figures are going to debate whether this is massage forever. You know, they're not going to teach you this in school because there's liability issues and they're afraid somebody's going to be injured. I'm being a horrible smartass. If you think I'm a smartass now, you should hang out and drink with me sometime. But as we're doing this, how much strain is it on my body?
Doesn't look like much.
It seems to be minimal.
None.
Maybe your hands.
I'm essentially compressing both sides. Are you getting like cold down here or numb or anything?
No.
Just checking to make sure. Some people will. If I'm there for a long time, I'm going to slowly back off. How was that? There we go. Right through there.
Now I feel it in the feet.
Now you feel it in the feet. And when you say you feel it in the feet, the blood flow. So all that was remember we did this and there was that big crimp. That was the first thing we did. The same thing happens on the other end of the extremities as well, but these are larger. So it didn't happen to be quite as robust. When I backed off, she said she could feel the blood flow flushing through there. People who are having problems with plantar fasciitis, how's the blood flow through that area?
Probably terrible.
Yeah, not very good.
Okay, do you want lower or higher?
Higher.
Higher a little bit? How's that right there? There we go. And I go, how's your quad right here?
Oh, it's a project.
It's a project.
It's a project.
So you can vary, right? But if I'm right here, one, you're not going to hyperextend the knee. That's dangerous. You don't want to do that. But for this, how's this?
It's good.
Yeah. Now, if I want to deliver something more sharp, I want something just a bit more pointed. She's still in this position. I'm going to change my body mechanics. I'm going to bring her leg up, and I'm going to stack. How's this right here?
Nice. Nice and effective.
Is it too much?
Maybe a little.
Right there?
Yes.
Is that better? Okay. Can you slowly bring the top of your foot back towards your face?
If you give me less pressure.
And then can you slowly point your toes? There you go. And just let it rest. There you go. How's that? So the thing is, bringing you to your edge is fine, okay? That's a knee. The knee is still bigger than an elbow. If you had a choice between what I just did and me putting you face down in the face rest and using a forearm and elbow, what would you prefer?
Your knee. I don't let people do my calves because of the elbow situation.
Because it's too sharp. But here's the thing. Now what happens is the work starts to shift because massage therapists have been trained to use these little structures on little structures and big structures. And what starts to shift is you go like, oh, I can use big structures on big structures. It changes their perception, right? You're also able to mobilize, you're able to move, you're able to use your own body in ways that minimizes your strain and gives them really effective work. Do you guys want to try that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just one quick caveat, real quick. When I came in and did this, you see that I'm stacked high?
Yes.
Let's say this was too much, okay? Lots of variance, right? I'm going to drop down what I call pigeon. How's this?
It's less invasive. I like it.
Way more broad. The challenge is, what if your hips aren't open enough to do this?
You're gonna get tired.
You need to torque.
Yeah. So if I'm up like this, and it's too sharp, what do? And I cushion it with the towel, typically, not a pillowcase. But I just wanted to give you that. But do you see how quickly the body mechanics shifts? It's like, wait, you're using your quad to like roll out their calves? You see how weird it seems? Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Because I know when.
A lot of people, in my experience, when they say they have plantar fasciitis, I suspect they're having problems. Not in all cases, can't say that. They're having issues with their soleus, and they're sometimes having issues with their tibialis posterior. And what I have to do is be able to soften those superficial muscles to maybe eventually get in with an elbow.
Okay, where's the pedal in this?
Up here.
She does this
Oh, no, I mean, like, on the legs.
It's a waiting game. Very waiting.
Yeah. Maybe that wasn't high enough.
Yeah, and feel free to adjust the table height. So here's the other thing. She has smaller, more petite thighs than I do. Maybe hers are sharper. Do you see how things have to change depending on body size and dimensions? Yeah. Yeah, all the time.
And bunions.
And bunions.
It's just a rolling pin, that's all. And then you can even get a workout on your legs doing that, you know?
Yeah, you're massaging my.
Yeah, that.
Not bad. That's weird. But it feels okay to you.
Yeah.
It's just fun to do.
It's not really that tight.
I spent time in private practice working with clients, and occasionally something would happen and I just didn't have the right tool. And I would literally have to sit and think about it session to session and go, what can I use to get? And I'm like, ooh, can I do that? And the clients I knew well, you would experiment and you'd be able to find the right tool for that client. Experimentation is part of what we do. We have to.
You can do your, yeah, see, that's good.
Yes, from the Oh. Now,
Yeah.
can you lower the foot?
10-second outro.
Yeah. Hey guys, thank you so much for turning in to our Instagram Live and the portion of our class here, Time Massage for the Table at Oak Haven. Thank you so much to Dr. Schul for having us out to do this. We're going ahead and finishing up the information we were covering on plantar fasciitis, soleus, tibialis posterior, and generally what you think of as working on the calves. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. They give you what you need?
Yeah, it was a little bit longer. But. So you want to share?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure, totally fine.
So I saved it too. So that's available for wherever you want to put it.
Sure, yeah, we can talk about that. Some of that is like you're giving me new options where I'm going to have to sort like what's the easiest way to streamline how we do it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's good. Oh, you got it. You got it.
We have to build you a profile with this distribution company, so then we can do that, and then we'll be able to do live. Right now, I am live right now on that camera, but I could only do to my stuff, so it's saved, but so for easy distribution.
Yeah. Thank you. Oh, you're welcome. We'll see you again soon. I'm glad you enjoyed. Thank you so much, Travis. We'll see you soon. Yeah.
$350.
You're late. They'll come find me.
If we have time, we'll do
They always do.
Yeah, we got 9 minutes.
Yes, sir.
Oh, it feels great. It's a little intense.
I'd say this one.
That's
gonna make me squeal.
Snap fabulous.
Turns out I really love password.
You say a lot of stuff on raise it.
I do this.
Robert,
How does it feel
Yeah.
for you?
it has been a pleasure.
Oh, thank you so much. We'll see you again soon. Thank you for coming out.
I'm like, this is super, like, I could fall asleep doing this.
I could do this all day long.
And honestly, like, it feels effective, and I don't feel like I'm dying, so that's a win.
Yeah.
Do you want to?
I hear that every
I mean,
class.
I hate catchphrases.
And I'm still just cranking out video as fast as I can, and it's like they don't quite believe me. Or it's like, yeah, whatever.
Because you know, usually I'm
What you got?
trying to kick you by now.
Oh, sure.
Well,
Sure, what's in the ad?
Basically, it's just gonna be like for Instagram. That'll be on Facebook too.
Okay.
Usually, just say what you did today, and then like where would be like a place you could send them to, like a swipe up.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
like,
So like go
if
get
it
my
says,
free
"Hey,
workbook.
man, swipe up. you know,
Okay,
and get the,
cool.
All right.
Everybody else know. And then he was like,
What's the one about massage again? You've heard it too?
so I like
Video.
his joint mobilization.
I like the idea of like, finding out where we're tender right there, huh?
We're at Oak Haven here in Austin, Texas. We went over some techniques primarily for upper back and neck pain, also some stuff related to hand and wrist, and now plantar fasciitis. If you're looking for more information, you can swipe up and go ahead and download my free Time Massage workbook. That'll give you a basic sequence on a mat to go through. You can also check the bio link and go to my subscription service for $7 a month. It has over 300 hours of video instructional content.
I got
Perfect.
Cool. Thank you, man.
A
Thanks
little
for
bit
walking
under
me
30
through.
seconds.
Yeah. Is that what you needed?
Yeah, I mean, you can do up to a minute.
Oh, okay. I didn't know how long it needed to be exactly. How's it feel?
A little more intense on this side.
Yeah.
She got into that, but it feels.
And it
effective.
depends because it's like I didn't say where to put it exactly.
But you can kind of feel it out. That's our job anyway.
Because it's because you already know. That's the thing. You already know how to do it with your hands and arms. I'm just shifting you to your legs and feet.
Yeah. And I, like me, I have a very large runner practice.
Yeah.
That I always use forearm. So this will be awesome.
Yeah.
Never even thought about it.
Don't tell anybody I made it up. No, I'm serious. Because the thing is, there was a lot of stuff. The thing I was fortunate about, my teacher was a Westerner, and she wasn't heavy on tradition. And she basically, in her own way, she taught me the basics. And she's like, play. And I kept playing and working on pain and working on, and it's like the techniques got more complex, and it was multiple points of contact, and the clients were like, oh. They're like, dude, what is this? One of the reasons I decided to rebrand was I would give a massage therapist a session and they would completely freak out and go, that is not Thai massage. And I'm like, whoa, are you okay? And they're like, no, dude, your work is amazing. I don't even know how to describe what you do. But that is nothing like the Thai massage I had. And I was like, whoa, hold on. As a guy who just wrote 700 pages of sequence manuals and 9 DVDs of Thai massage, I'm a little confused. And I was like, what were they doing? He's like, they just do a sequence.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, dude, the sequence is just to get started.
Yeah.
That's just you don't do the same Swedish routine you learned in school.
No, I might keep a pattern, but that's all I do is keep that pattern so I don't forget something.
Yeah.
Because you have something to fall back on to riff off of.
Yeah,
but once you start working on something, Bloodhound.
You want some of that?
So we are right at 3:55. After this class, I'm going to send you an email. That email will have your certificates. If I don't send it in that email, it'll be a separate email. So I'm going to email your certificates. I'm also going to have links to the subscription service, my Facebook page, that sort of stuff. If you have any desire to have me teach here again, just bug Shul. I'm sure he can work it out. If you need to reach me for any reason, you have questions, feel free to contact me. Then shifts to our hours soon, but it's because we have 3 jams in Austin, not 1, and soon to be we're probably going to have 5.
Nice.
Heavy. Tibialis. So you could,
oh, dude, tib anterior is a booger on people.
Yeah, all that stuff. That roll back.
Cool. Well, listen, I'm in no mad rush to get out. We're just going to slowly pack up our stuff. If you have any questions for me, feel free to ask. Thank you guys so much for your time and attention in class today. Really, really appreciate it. It was wonderful to work with all of you.
Thank you.
Oh, you need me to do it?
How do you get on your website?
It's robertgardnerwellness.com.
Okay, you don't have a card, do you?
No, I don't have a card, but I mean, sure, these guys have links and can tell you after the fact as well. But I will send you an email.
Okay.
That'll have links and
Okay,
such.
good.
That's on the internet, Jerry.
Robert, appreciate it so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Oh,
We'll
that
see you
was
again soon.
fantastic. Oh, yes, you will.
Internet. That's the one with email? Yeah.
Yes, that one.
Oh.
Are you familiar with the worldwide
See tears. I see tears. No. I feel your calves. I'm so jealous of people with calves. Oh, that's
Oh, we'll see you
I always
soon.
see
I'll
your
be in
calves and
contact.
I'm jealous. Even though-
Cool. Yeah, we'll talk soon. Cool.
Thanks for
No,
coming.
calves
You're welcome.
are like-
Hopefully they liked it.
Scared of
Yeah.
I
him.
know.
Whoa.
Too much?
Just a little. Is it not on top? Does it feel like in danger? Okay.
Well, if I push more on the top, it's going to push harder on the underneath, right?
It's 4 o'clock.
I guess it's okay if you're not rolling.
Okay.
It hurts so good.
Good. It's so good. That's what we want.
It's fun. I mean,
We will have to bug him again.
It was fun torturing you, thanks.
Thank you.
It's fun torturing you.
Yeah. Thanks, Robert.
See you soon. Thank you so much.
That's it, Jesse. You're not even pushing very hard, are you? You're just leaning.
What cup is this?
Mine. Thank you. It's empty.
So Trent, this ended sooner than I thought it would. I thought it was going to end at 5. Well, we do have time if you just want to hang out.
Definitely have to talk to you about stuff.
What I figured was we'd go get food, I'll take care of dinner, and then we can sit and chat about whatever you got, just kind of get on the same page.
Yeah.
And then I didn't have a chance to talk to Knives last night. He bailed on me. He had something else. Yeah. I think he's just really busy with Dakota.
Yeah, well,
Are you doing work with him and Dakota?
That's Tom.
at the time I couldn't.
Yeah.
So like, I'm more available now. But
Yeah.
not ready yet.
Okay. Just checking because I don't know everybody's workflow.
Yeah.
You got some junk in there, girl.
Woo!
You do.
Girl.
Okay. Okay, let's go.
Oh, that's much better.
Yeah, let's go a little less sharp.
Oh, we're supposed to sign it? Or just that?
Oh, I don't know if I'm thinking about that.
The things that we,
On him.
the paper that we filled out that you wanted
Kept
a
the
massage
leg up on the
license
leg.
number on.
Oh, so that was on type. That was on my laptop.
Oh.
I don't need the license number. I can look that up.
Okay.
As long as I have your name and email address, I'm just going to look that up.
I can go get it in a minute.
Nah,
Yeah,
it's
so I
totally
did.
fine.
I went and got it.
The only reason I put it there is because when I deal with the spreadsheet later, I'm going to have to go to the board and like look it up to be able to fill it in. But it allows me to have that spreadsheet 2 years from now if somebody needs a certificate because they lost it or something. That's another reason I started doing them via email because I can more easily search in Google and grab it and then send it to you again. Yeah. Paper certificates and only paper certificates are a nightmare.
I know I keep like a file, but like I've been scanning everything in to have a digital file, so I can just pull it up on my phone instead of carrying around anything in case I ever need to.
Yeah.
I need to like just hang out with you and have you organize me.
You getting up earlier today?
I need you to
And making
be
cakes.
Can you be OCD for me, please? Sure, no problem.
Can you what?
Can you be OCD for me, please? Absolutely.
Pick them up. Take them or something.
Thank you.
No, never mind.
No, I need somebody to be OCD for me because I'm like too like out here everywhere.
Squirrel?
Yeah.
That's
What is it? I don't have,
Sorry.
Thank you for your
You know,
time today.
I don't
Oh, you're
have
welcome.
ducks.
Thank you
They're
so
not